to confirm it. City have had decent opportunities, lots of good Spurs blocks. Can't remember Ortega having to do anything. And so at half-time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it is Spurs 0, City 0. Well, let's go back to the studio and we can join Natalie.
Very much to Alistair Mann and to Andy Morrison there. So it is half-time. Welcome back to Matchday Live. Still 0-0 in the fourth round of the FA Cup. City taking on Spurs. Statistically, City edging possession there in that first half. City, though, having 10 shots, 2 shots on target to Spurs' no shots. But I think perhaps those statistics maybe aren't telling the full story there. We'll find out a bit more now from Michael Brown and from Brian Barry Murphy. 10 shots on target for City. Nothing hugely noticeable, though. A couple of good shots by Oscar Bobb. But in general, how are you assessing that first half, Brownie?
I think there's control there. I think that's what the manager would want. You want to take that first half. As we mentioned, Spurs would come out and really put you under pressure. But it's actually City who've controlled the rhythm, the tempo of the game. They've circulated the ball. A couple of opportunities, maybe not clinical ones. Unlucky for Oscar Bobb. It took a long time to get that offside decision, but some good blocks from Spurs, getting the bodies in the way. But I think it was a really positive first half. Obviously, we'd love a goal. We'd love to try and settle that down, but I think it's had that control. You're away from home. You've got the respect with the opposition, who are really good in that first half, as we've mentioned. And Oscar Bobb getting some great opportunities as well. There's minutes on the pitch. So I think overall, yeah, it could be better. There could be goals for certain, but I think it's been a positive first half.
Yeah, Brian, we don't look like we've been under threat really at all in that first half.
No, I think the key stat you mentioned was no attempt on goal for Stefan to save, and against a team like Tottenham, that's pretty rare. So I think the nature of the game would be, I expected to see goals and loads of goal-mouth action, but I think probably from Pep's point of view, he'll be very happy with the element of a calm game and have them where he wants them, and hopefully. And also the first game back after that mini break, I think he'll be looking to find their rhythm and step on the gas in the second half, and I think it's perfectly poised from where we want to be.
I'm not sure they've got the legs as well. Do you know the way they play, the tempo, to carry on. And I think you look at the bench as well. We might see introduction of Kevin De Bruyne. I think we're looking at that. There's plenty of options for him in those positions. John Stones is there as well, Jack Grealish. So options are there, but I think it was about the control. I think we know so much that the manager likes to have control in games. He doesn't want to get counter-attacked. He doesn't want to chase the game where he goes behind. And I think that'll be really important. That'll be the message. And now this is where he's really good for me. At half-time, you'll see, you'll get all the team together and they'll just start to pick off some little areas, little trends. And is that really important? Do you know that the teamwork that you get given? Do you know, is that, you know, do you go and take into account everything from all your team and then try and give them that?
I feel I should know better really, because I think, you know, preaching this to the young players ourselves, the quicker you go forward against Tottenham and the more you want to score them and the more players you commit to it, the quicker they can break in. And even though they haven't had one shot on target like you referenced, you can still see there's that possibility of a quick counter-attack and one pass in behind for Werner, and you could be sat here. You could be sat here thinking like they've had no possession whatsoever and scored a goal. So, and they're still a pretty good team. So to restrict them to nothing, I think is testament to the quality of the performance, if it isn't the most exciting on the eye for periods.
Is that about that? Do you know, so when you go in at half-time now and you've sort of seen, you've had that control, is it now then say, well, how do we get a one-on-one? How do we get that midfield run? Just to some, is the trend you look for? What is it at half-time that, you know, that you're looking for? Your team, everybody comes around, your analysts, etc. What sort of things are you trying to find?
I'm just fascinated, I think, Michael, by this sense that this group of players have of the need to up to speed, and at what stage, you know, as young players or coaching young players, we're always trying to give them that license to interpret what rhythm the game needs. Do we need to be really quick or do we calm it down? And I think the first half was a lesson in being calm and controlled. And it'll be just interesting to see, while the score remains at 0-0, at what stage does Rodri, Kyle start to initiate some speed into the game and look for those, I suppose, those more clear-cut openings which will require more numbers in attack, because I don't think either team will probably want to replay.
I think that's a given, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think normally we see this team start to create more chances as the game progresses. And like Michael, I think Tottenham are a quick team, but the amount of energy they expand in the game can leave themselves vulnerable late in the game, and that's where City will be so fresh in the second half, I believe.
We nearly saw a City goal in the first couple of minutes. So Oscar Bobb had it went in the back of the net, and then it took a couple of minutes for VAR to confirm that it was offside. But goodness me, I just feel like we've had to clean your birthday. Like...
We've had to clean the birthday cake up because you spat it everywhere when Oscar Bobb scored. You went, yes.
I mean, pretty
what
much.
Happened? Then we had to wait.
His toenail was offside, wasn't it? Like, come on, we're like.
His feet are too big.
His feet, if he was a size smaller in the shoe.
Who's there?
I mean, it took a couple of minutes, didn't it? But it looked really marginal. But I mean, we came out. It was an energetic start from City. So I mean, that obviously got me so excited.
It broke it. They've got the goal, and it was one of those, wasn't it? And you know, there was a long time it took for VAR to get the lines on to have a look, but there's been some big mistakes. So I think I'm looking and going, let's get this right. It's such a big, it's a big goal, isn't it, in this type of tie. Let's make sure we're getting to the right decision. They sort of looked like they were going to play on, and then he wanted just another look. I think he must have got something in his ear and said, you know what, let's just make sure. They went back. Yes, it took time, but you know what? I'm going to give them the credit. They got there in the end. You know, although we were hoping it was the other side and the goal was going to be. Imagine a story again for Oscar Bobb. It'd be fantastic.
He's had a good few chances in that first half, though. He's been pretty much involved in the few sort of major opportunities that we've had, Brian.
Yeah, I think Oscar adds to that sense of control because he's so good at retaining the ball and so reliable, which is one of his big assets. I think it's against Tottenham, the spaces are quite tight in terms of how compact they are and how high the line they hold. And it'll be interesting, like, I don't want to preempt what the manager's going to do, but it'll be very interesting at what stage he introduces Jack Grealish or Jeremy Doku, because you can see those players, once they come on the pitch, it'll be inevitable. I suppose if Jack comes on, you get more control and more creativity, but if Jeremy comes on, you have that cutting edge in the final third. It's a real game.
What you're saying is it depends on when he wants to open that up, the manager.
I think so, yeah.
Or that he feels like we'll carry on with the control right.
Absolutely, but I think there's a clear trade-off with the battle between Kyle and Dougie and Porro, like you referenced before the game, and I hadn't seen it. How dynamic and how aggressive they are means it's inevitable there's spaces on the counter-attack. So it'll just be a balance of at what stage Pep wants to probably go for that, I think, and what card he plays.
To give Spurs some credit, they have looked pretty solid defensively. Van der Ven's had some mad stats in that first half. Won all of his duels, 97% pass accuracy, 31 of his 32 passes he's completed. He's been solid at the back.
He is solid, and what he's got really top pace. So it allows them to step forward. Romero is a wonderful defender, very, very good, but although he doesn't always keep that composure. And that's from me saying that. I know before anyone says that, I didn't always do it either, so I can't judge him. But, you know, that's one thing he needs to obviously get a little bit better at. So it allows them to step forward really high to try and condense the middle. We've seen Phil Foden come inside. Him and Bernardo sometimes alternate because Dougie comes inside the pitch. So you can see they're City trying to close that off, not let Spurs get any momentum in those areas. You say Walker might be able to get Josko Vardiol and a couple of crosses, maybe. Do you know when in the areas like a De Bruyne ball is at some point do you start taking that bit of risk? If De Bruyne comes on, it's not about he makes that pass. They will go for it, so they're ready for it. But again, I keep saying it. The manager was so aware of the counter attack of Spurs. He won't want to go and chase it.
You mentioned Kevin there, obviously you mentioned Jeremy and Jack as well. Just a quick reminder of who's on our bench today if you're wondering what might change or could change during the second half. John Stones, Jack Grealish, Jeremy Doku, Kevin De Bruyne. It's a pretty powerful bench there. Sergio Gomez, Mateus Nunes, Mohamedou Sissoko I would like to talk about in a minute with Brian, and Rico Lewis. So, I mean, in terms of people that can come off the bench, we've got, I mean, there's some serious attacking talent there if it's needed, Brian.
I think Kevin is inevitable, and I think the manager will want to get him up to speed as soon as possible. So I think he'll definitely be on the pitch. And like I said, I think it'll be very interesting which white player becomes because Jack will definitely want to come on, and Jeremy looks like he's getting back to full fitness. So it'll be intriguing to see which one comes on in which position, if not both. But I think. I'm not telling Pep what to do. He might not want to open up too early because I think he'll be aware of how dangerous Tottenham are because they're a pretty good team and they got, like you referenced, they got all the best players back and they look strong. And it's a good test of where our guys are. But
it's not to give the tie away, isn't it?
No,
I think that's the point. Not to just go for it to give it away.
It's a proper game, like, I know there hasn't been the goals we want. It's a proper game, like, isn't it? In terms of like the standard of players is high level.
Substitute options are really good, aren't they? At this moment in time, but
they'll be thinking
youngsters as well. Academy. Is there anyone you'd I want to see you come on.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Mohamedou to get on in this game. I think you know, he's a holding midfield player who can play centre back, and he's progressed really quickly into this squad, probably based on the fact that Calvin's now left. But he made his debut in Belgrade recently, and I suppose he's probably a little bit unexpected because he hasn't been with the first team loads like previous players. Shea Charles and before that Romeo Lavia were in the first team environment a lot. But Mohamedou's made rapid progress and made a big impression on the first team staff, and he's now
great learning for him, isn't it? Though, you know, sat there now in that dressing room listening and taking everything in. Even this when you're in that position as well. He'll be able to train, he'll be in the group, he'll see the detail that's given and
incredible,
play with those players every day.
I've seen the interaction recently. I see Ruben, just the type of demands he puts on the young players, and like in a really positive manner. You know, as a senior professional, I think the way you deliver that message can make a big difference to a young player. And I've seen him be really demanding to the young players and want very specific things from them. But the manner he does it in makes them want to please him and real inspiration. I think Ruben Dias, the way every young player who goes into that training session, he makes them feel very at home, and even when he's giving them not critical but demanding information, it's in a very positive manner, which makes them feel, I think, really valued by him. So I think I've seen that with Mohamedou and Jacob, because like I said, those players wouldn't have had a lot of experience training with the first team, so for them to feel so comfortable so quickly is down to the likes of Kyle, who's taken a lot of our young players under his wing, and Ruben, who are such good role models.
So Mohamedou went on the warm training weather camp that we had recently in Abu Dhabi. He was 19 on the 20th of January, and we are told that Pep got up on his birthday, said happy birthday to him, did a speech in front of the players, and we're told he gave him a peck on the cheek. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's pretty much as high praise as it comes from Pep.
Did he have to sing?
I've not been told if he's had to sing or not.
On your first trip or on your birthday, you've got to do a little bit of a sing song.
He did a speech, though, apparently, and said it was an honour to be amongst them all. So we have another nice, humble young man.
Yeah, he's a great lad. I don't think Pep knew he was from... Mohamedou was in the Espanyol Academy, so big rivals of Barcelona, but he's a Barcelona fan. I don't think when he first went over, Pep realised he was a Catalan. So he thought he was... Because he lives in Bradford now, and he came to England when he was 12 years of age, I think. So I think once Pep recognised that he was a Catalan, he now speaks to him in Spanish, and the communication is a lot better than mine.
That'd be nice for him, though, wouldn't it? Do you know, like, he'll just feel a little bit more... I don't know, that he's got an association with the manager.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Definitely, yeah.
I think it's a little bit different. Previously, the likes of Shea and those guys were really established in DDS. Mohamedou's only having his first season there, and was starting to establish himself at under 21 level. So it's probably a sign of where we are as an academy. The team is much younger, and the players are kind of getting that exposure at a much earlier age. So it'll be a big step for him, but it's good, very, very good for him.
Well, he is on the bench this evening. If you're just joining us and you're wondering what this lovely ball is on the table in front of us, this is a signed ball by our women's team, and it includes Gareth Taylor's signature as well. We are running a giveaway. You can have the opportunity to own this ball. We got it signed on Wednesday at the Derby victory, so we know it's completely authentic because we did it ourselves. So you can win this if you are on YouTube. Click into the description. There is a link in there. Otherwise, get yourselves onto the City website, mancity.com/feed, into the Citizens portal, and you have a chance to win this ball. So very, very best of luck. And yes, I think, is that Chloe Kelly's signature we're seeing very close? I think that says Chloe Kelly. And of course, our women's team are involved in the incredible triple header that we have for you coming up on City Plus. So if you are a City Plus subscriber, then you can watch these three games in a row. So tomorrow, 12:30, you've got the under-18 City v Derby. Sunday, you've got the women against Spurs. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff. And then on Monday, a 7 p.m. kickoff, you've got Brian's EDS versus Everton. 3 games. If you are a City Plus subscriber, if you're not, it is $4.99 a month. So you could literally just pay $4.99 and you get to watch 3 City games. It's incredible values. Obviously, there's a heck of a lot of brilliant other content on there as well, including that documentary that we keep reminding Michael about, when City beat Spurs 4-3, and he was in the Spurs team. So loads of great content on there. So we are a few minutes away now from the second half. Are we any changes at half time, do you think, or will it be a very sort of patient start to the second half?
Well, listen, it's hard to guess what Pep Guardiola is going to do. He's got a strong bench, so he will make changes, but it's about controlling. Make sure you start and just get hold of the game, because you don't know as well what the opposition are going to do. What are they going to throw at you? What are they going to change? And we know Ange Postecoglou, he doesn't sit back, he doesn't sort of conserve. He'll say, do you know what?
Maddison.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go like this. I'm going to say, right, we're just going to go for it now. Full-backs can go, a midfielder can go and join in the front three. So, you know, there's that as well that you've got to be careful. You've got to be ready. You've got to have all the answers. But I think it's set up. I think it was set up quite nicely.
Do you think we'll see... Oh, here we go. Do you think we'll see Maddison coming on? Yeah, De Bruyne? Oh, introduction of both of them would be very, very interesting. There is Ange. Brian, thank you. Michael, thank you very much. So we will be back here at full time, all three of us, where hopefully we are talking about Manchester City progressing through to the 5th round of the FA Cup. Of course, that will require our first ever goal at the London Stadium. Get back onto the Manchester City app now if you're not currently watching on there for your full match commentary, your full second half commentary with Alistair Mann and with Andy Morrison. Right, Blues, everything crossed. We'll see you in 45 minutes.
Thank you, Natalie. Welcome back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It is 0-0. City have had the ball in the back of the Spurs net, but it was ruled out for offside. Oscar Bobb put it over the line, but his big toe was just in front of, I think, Van der Ven's, and it was by the sort of merest